some questions, okay? So,
Good. And I want to just say thank you to all the parents for being here. Thank you so much for hosting this. And it really means a lot, especially to do this in a weeknight or an evening while you're still working. It is really an honor to finally meet you, Sarai. I'm happy we had so many email exchanges. And thank you. Thank you so much. So parents, welcome. Feel free to type any questions you have into the chat. I'm going to be behind the scenes on mute. I just want to enjoy the webinar. Okay, go ahead.
all right, thank you. So the Kew Forest School was founded in 1918, and we have grown over the years into a preschool through 12th grade school, serving children that are age 3 through graduation. And this year we opened with 230 students in those grades. Last year, the board approved a new mission statement, which is really simple because we wanted to have everyone be able to say it and understand it, from the youngest of our community members to the oldest. And we really feel it encapsulates who we are. So we are the Kew Forest School. Our community nurtures lifelong learners from around the world. Our educators inspire young people to think boldly and find their voices. Our students support each other and explore thoughtfully as they shape the future. It's no accident that the first words are we and our community. Because we're so small, we really do have a sense of a big family, if you will, at Kew Forest. Every child is known by all of the adults, whether they have them in their classroom or not. And all of the children know all of the adults, whether they have them as teachers or not. One of the nice things about being a small school also is that students really do get to know each other across grade levels. And larger institutions, it's usually the case that students stick with their own grade level. But here, you'll have 10th graders who are buddies with 8th graders because they're all in the after school club that's looking at film or things like that. So there's a very, most independent schools will boast of a strong community. The nature of ours is really distinct because of our size. We also are very representative of the world we live in. So being a Queens school, we really embody the diversity that is part of the borough of Queens, and we represent over 70 nationalities. There are over 30 home languages that are spoken by our students' families, and that richness really does infuse the learning environment with different perspectives and different backgrounds and different takes on things. So it adds a richness and a depth to the conversations that's really unique. And we really, again, because of the size, each child is very much supported in terms of their strengths, in terms of their interests, in terms of the areas where they might need to be stretched a little bit. And our goal is that every student, again, is well known, well supported, and well developed during their time at Kew Forest. We're fortunate to have a great leadership team headed up by Ms. Carla Jantos McMullen. She has a deep background in education and a love of students, whether it be lower school, middle, or upper school. She herself started out as an educator with in the math curriculum and expanded her role into an administrative role. And she leads by example. She is very collaborative and hands-on. She has been holding weekly coffees for parents via Zoom since the start of the pandemic. Before that, she was also accessible, but she realized right away when we transitioned to the remote environment with COVID that it would be important for parents to be heard and to be able to have their questions addressed in real time on a punctual basis. And so she set up these weekly coffees with the parent community, and they've been really successful. There's lots of things that we've learned during COVID that will continue to be best practice kinds of activities as we move forward and move past the time of this pandemic. Leading up our lower school is Miss Karen Bernstein, and leading up our middle and upper school, also Miss Tiffany Trotter. Miss Bernstein also has a math background, and Miss Trotter comes from the English and humanities sides of education. Uh, we have our school split in, as you saw with the leadership team, 2 divisions. Lower school encompasses preschool and pre-K, which this year and next year will be a combined mixed age group, and kindergarten is kind of the early childhood groups, and then grades 1 through 5. And the middle and upper school are grades 6 through 8 for middle school and 9 through 12 upper school. So pretty typical configuration. This year, we implemented staggered arrivals and dismissals so that fewer students would be coming together at the same time at our entrances. And that has been a really wonderful experience because Miss Bernstein and Miss McMullen and myself and other administrators and teachers will be at the entrances each morning to greet everyone. And with the staggered times, it just plays into our small community feeling, and we get to see everyone as they come into the building. Will probably these times, the arrival and dismissal times may change for next year, but in terms of the staggered nature of it, we'll probably continue to do that. Lower school is a very typical curriculum. We cover all the core subjects, which you'll see in the right-hand column: language arts, math, science, STEAM, social studies, and of course, personal development or character development, as it's sometimes called. And the specials that we cover are art, health, library. They have gym, music, Spanish starting in preschool, and keyboarding will also happen in grades 3 through 5 for technology classes. And in terms of the language arts and math curriculum at the lower grades, what I'll say is that it's the curriculum that we use and the methodologies really allow for a lot of differentiation and a lot of open-ended kind of materials and programming, so that students are really developing along their own pace. They're being challenged appropriately. Just for one example, in math, we use a curriculum called Math in Focus, which is based on Singapore math. And that uses a progression of manipulatives, um, to pictorial representations, to the abstract mathematical algorithms. So students, you might ask a kindergartner, how much is 4 plus 4? And there's one right answer, right? 8. In Math in Focus, you're teaching students number bonds. And so you might ask them, what do you know about the number 8? And you have one child who can tell you 4 plus 4 equals 8. And you have one child who can tell you that 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 8. Well, guess what? That child already has the foundation of the concept of multiplication. So they're working at a higher abstract level than the other child who just wrote that 4 plus 4 was 8. So that's one example of how the curriculum lends itself to being differentiated for different levels. Graduation requirements at the other end of the spectrum, also very typical: 4 years of English, 4 years of history, phys ed, or the phys ed can be substituted if a student participates on one of the athletic teams. We are required 3 years of science, including the lab sciences, math. We teach Spanish or Latin at the upper school level, and they do visual or performing arts as well. What's special about our middle and upper school programs are some of the extracurricular or co-curricular programs that are part of the student life. Model UN and Mock Trial are extremely popular. They are sponsored by our classics professor. Yeah, that's what it feels like, our classics teacher. And at the senior level, we have an elective course that's an interdisciplinary course called Myth and Identity, that brings in Greek and Roman mythology, social studies, psychology, and it's a really popular course. In the middle school, our English and social studies curriculum is also interdisciplinary, and the teachers work together to create a more robust humanities program. We do a lot of project-based learning rather than just teaching to a test. And in a non-COVID year, our students also participate in a lot of community service. So there's real life experience that's also part of the learning process at the Q Forest School. I won't get into this, but just to say that this is what our middle and upper school schedule looks like. It's a modified block schedule, which means students have a different um, set of classes each day and they rotate. So if you look at circle A, which is red on Monday in the 8 o'clock time slot, you'll see that it appears at different time frames and different days of the week. And basically what that does is that it keeps um, the students on their toes. It means they're not always having math class right after lunch period and falling asleep. So that gets spread around throughout the week A and the week B schedules. And the other thing I'll say about this schedule is that it's allowed us to have a hybrid model of remote instruction where we have a cohort that's the week A cohort and a cohort that's the week B, and they alternate between being at home one week, but learning synchronously with the classmates that are in school that week, and they alternate week to week. And should we need to continue with social distancing, that would be the kind of schedule that we would implement for next school year as well. Hopefully, we'll get back to normal. During the activity period, students have advisory. All students are assigned to a group of about 10 students to one teacher, and that's sixth grade through 12th grade, so that they have one adult that really has a pulse of how that student is doing throughout their school day and school year. We meet about every 2 weeks with our advisories, and we facilitate community development, character development, and just create a safe space for students to talk about any of their interests or concerns. We have assemblies by grade level or by division during that time. And students also participate in clubs, which are student imagined and student driven. And that means that all of the clubs at our school, um, the students can change from year to year based on student interest. So if a student comes in and wants to start, I don't know, the chicken coop club. They can write a proposal for it, get some other students to back them up in their interest, find a faculty sponsor, and they're off and running. So again, very much a student-centered and fun part of the co-curricular experience for students. Um, there's examples of some of the clubs that run, and if you go to our website, you can dive into these a little bit more, but everything from the yearbook, which didn't even make it onto this list because it's a class actually, to affinity clubs, to more academic type clubs like the American Math Competition. um, Whole roster of teams. And again, by being a small school, it means that students who try out for a sport for the most, in most cases, are going to be able to play that sport. You're not competing against 100 other kids for the 10 spots on the soccer team. You really can get involved, whether you have deep experience in a sport or are new and want to try it out for the first time. We also have learning support available. We have the director of learning support is Miss Allison Green here in the middle, and she will coordinate with the Department of Ed if students have IEPs and need just slight accommodations to be successful in a mainstream classroom setting. She'll coordinate and make sure that the students have those accommodations, be it extra time for testing or use of their laptops for writing essays, things like that. We have a school counselor, one for middle school and upper school and one for lower school. And we also have an international student coordinator, Miss Lila Eaton, who also happens to be my admission coordinator and assistant. So we get to work very closely. When you email admission or make a phone call, she's the first person that you'll come in contact with, and she's very friendly. We run an admissions schedule that conforms to the other independent school calendars in the fall and early spring, and that the deadline to apply in that round was December 15th. However, after we do continue to accept applications throughout the spring and summer on a rolling basis, because having an international community means that sometimes parents will relocate in April, or their company will move them to a different state in the US, and we'll end up having a spot or two in different grades. And so we're happy to have your application in the applicant pool so that when those spaces become available, we're able to make additional offers of acceptance throughout the spring and summer, right before leading up to the start of the school year. If you're interested in applying and you can get your application in, by Monday, and really fast track all of the supplemental requirements, we'll do our best on our part to try and get you into that first round of decisions. Those decisions will be released in February. Our application steps follow a very standard process. There's an application form and a $75 fee. We use a platform called Ravenna right now that allows you to complete the entire application process online. So it's a paperless process on our end. We require a parent statement, and this is an opportunity for you to tell us about your child. It is not a writing contest. We don't care about your grammar, your punctuation, or anything like that. We really just want to get a sense of how you see your child and why you think they would benefit from an independent school education, or Q Forest in particular. For the older students applying to middle and upper school, we also ask for a student statement. Similarly, we want to hear directly from the student. What makes them tick? What are they interested in? What are they looking forward to or hoping for? What are their aspirations when they look forward to the rest of their education? For all students, lower school students will have an assessment administered by one of our classroom teachers. That might be in a small group setting or a one-on-one assessment. And students applying to grades 6 through 12 will have a one-on-one interview with myself or with someone from the middle or upper school division. We ask for teacher recommendations from the current classroom teacher, or for middle and upper school from the English and math teachers. There's an optional supplemental recommendation that you can submit for students in grades 2 and above. There's our school records release form, again, for students in grades 2 and above who may have a report card from the previous year. And there's a short recommendation form to be filled out by a guidance counselor, an assistant principal, someone in that role, the registrar, who knows the family and the student. And lastly, for those grades where it's applicable, we would ask for the previous year's end of year report card and the current year report card, depending on which term of the year it is when you apply. So that's pretty much the application process. I thought there was one more page, which doesn't seem to be coming up. That next page is about tuition assistance, which we do offer. Currently, about half of our students receive some level of tuition assistance. It is all need-based. We use a platform called FAST, F-A-S-T. And basically what that application does is analyze what income your family has, what assets, what liabilities, what goes out, and comes up with what your disposable income is as a family. That might be negative in the negative numbers. And it might be, it might show that you don't qualify for tuition assistance. But based on what that disposable income is, the school will then expect that a percentage of that would be applied towards tuition. And the tuition is for the current school year. You can find it on our website, and it is stratified, meaning that there's different tuition amount depending on the grade level that your child is in. And it ranges from, I think, about 32,000 to about 41,000 this year. Um, what else? I think that covers, that's a lot of information that I've bombarded you with. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and just open it up for questions. You can put your question in the chat, and maybe Francis, you can read those out.
Yeah,
Or
definitely. Thank you so much for going over all the ins and outs with the school. And parents, while you're thinking of questions, I would love to kind of lead for a moment. Can you tell us, what is it that you like about Q Forest? What do you feel kind of makes Q Forest the school where you've chosen to work?
Yeah, I have been working in independent schools, goodness gracious, believe it or not, since 1990. Most of the schools that I've worked at have been huge schools. The last school had 1,700 students, preschool through 12th grade.
Wow.
And so I am really loving being part of a small community and really learning about the benefits of being a student in a small community, right? And like I said in my introduction, a lot of independent schools will talk about their close-knit community and their school spirit. And that's all true at every school that I've been at. The the quality of those connections in a small community is really special and unique. Like I said, every single child is known by the head of school. I mean, she knows them by name. She knows the families. She knows their stories. And to have leadership that is that involved in the day to day of the school means that decisions that she's making for the school are very empathetic. She can really see um, things from the parent's perspective and make decisions that really take the faculty, the parents, the students, everyone's best interest into account. Um, and so there's that personal level of investment is really key in shaping who we are as an institution. So that's a pretty special thing.
And
And the
then
other
Q
thing is
Forest during
yeah, go ahead.
And then Q Forest is also running and operating 5 days a week, full time. Am I understanding that correctly? Because
Correct.
one of the reasons why, especially with Queller Prep, one of the reasons why we've invited your school and identified your school as an excellent option for families, especially those in Queens, looking to explore great schools. There's been just so many bumps with the way the public education system is going. A lot of families are now, for the first time ever, exploring private. I think I speak on behalf of a lot of families,
Mhm.
actually saying that is something that they're going to explore for the first time now. So I just want to make sure Q Forest is running every day and things are more or less going smoothly, right? The school hasn't shut down or anything, right? Am I understanding that correctly?
That's correct. We spent all summer, we appointed a task force that included members of the board, faculty, parent, and really worked grassroots to develop a reopening plan that would be sustainable regardless of what came our way. So we tried to anticipate all of the different eventualities that could surprise us. And so we made a commitment to be open in person as much as possible, as much as we were allowed to be. And so for our lower school students, given the size of our classrooms and our staffing, that meant that everyone is in person. Everyone who wants to be in person is in person on campus Monday through Friday during regular school hours. We did give families the option of being fully remote. We outfitted each and every one of our classrooms with upgraded camera and audio equipment so that the synchronous learning, the Zoom connectivity wouldn't be an issue, and students could be fully a part as much as possible remotely of the learning that's happening. We have had to close down because we fell into the orange zone when we were doing the cluster
Mhm.
initiative, but we were able to swiftly transfer to that remote learning platform because we
But
were
that
all
was
set
no
up.
fault of your own. That
No,
was
no,
just
no.
a
Right,
decision by Cuomo to hold certain zip codes open and close with
right,
whatever rationality was behind that. I
right.
mean, I was actually in the zone as well.
Mhm.
So I mean, again, it was absolutely no fault of your own. But other than that, the school is open, right? It's open and
Correct.
running.
Yeah. Mhm. Like I described
That's
for our
great.
middle and upper school, it is a hybrid model because of the social distancing. We can't fit all of the students in the same classroom at the same time. And so we do the synchronous hybrid learning, and that's been working pretty well for that age group.
So the parents have a couple of questions in the chat. Have you had a chance
Sure.
to look at it? Do you want me to read anything
No, if
out?
you could read them out, that'd be great.
Sure, I'm going to go through some of the questions. Okay, so I'll read it through and I'll say hi to the parents really fast also. Hi, guys. Okay, check it out. Ready? All right, let me see. Parents, please ask some questions because we want to grab these last few minutes. Um, Someone sent an email this morning. The question is it too late to apply for ninth grade? When is the deadline for ninth grade admission?
So as I explained, the priority deadline was December 15th. That just
Mhm.
means that applications that came in, even if you get your application in by this coming Monday and you can get all of the requirements completed by the end of January, through no fault of your own, you're coming to this, session be past those deadlines. So I want to be flexible. Um, but we do release our first round of decisions for, well, between February 5th and February 26th, depending on the grade levels. So if you can complete your file, a week or two before the release date of notifications, we'll get you in the first round. If you miss that round, then you'll be put into the rolling admissions round that I explained, which means that as spaces become available, first come, first serve, whoever's in the pool would be considered for those openings.
So the next question, when is the appropriate time to apply for eighth grade?
So if you're thinking ahead, eighth grade for next year, the time to apply is now, um, yesterday. If so, the applications are a year ahead of the intended entry date.
So what is the class size for sixth? So this is a parent with two children. What
Mhm.
is the class size for sixth grade? What is the class size for ninth grade?
The middle and upper school grade level size is about 18 students. In a non-COVID year, we can bump that up to about 20 students.
Mhm.
And in the upper school, because the students are also taking electives and rotating, they're not moving as a cohort from class to class, we have more flexibility. So in 11th and 12th grade, at our largest, we might be 24 students in a grade level. But
So
the actual class meeting time might have 8 students or 12 students or 16 students, depending on the subject.
can you just give us a range of colleges? What are the most popular colleges that students who graduate from Q Forest High School attend?
That list is also available on our website, and our students go to a broad range of schools. You'd expect some Ivy Leagues to top that list. They're there. Small liberal arts colleges, local NYU or Fordham. So it really depends on the student's interests. And what we do, because we're so small, we really are able to individualize the college counseling process and really work with each individual student to come up with a college list that really suits their talents, their interests, their aspirations, so they're going to the best possible place.
Parent is asking how competitive is it? So how many apply versus how many get in?
So we're small, and Queens families self-select if they're going to apply to the independent school route. It depends on the grade level. I would say this year, for example, ninth grade, we have 25 applicants for maybe 5 seats. Other grades, we might have 5 applicants for 2 seats, the non-entry point grades. So really, the numbers don't tell you about the selectivity because the quality of the applicant pool is so strong, right? You're self-selecting. You know, you're choosing an independent school because you have a strong student and you want to give them the best opportunities that are available. And so the process is less about who deserves to be admitted and more about class composition. You know, do we need more boys? Do we need more girls? Do we need, in terms of the class dynamic, more leaders, more followers? So when it comes to academics, the students are pretty much neck and neck, so to speak. And then it's about fine tuning that class composition.
The parent is asking, are standardized tests required for high school entry?
They are not required right now, and especially not this year with all that's going on. If your student does take them, you're welcome to send them to us and we will look at them.
Does Q Forest participate in any sports leagues?
We do. I'm not sure what the league is. That's probably on our website. But yes, we compete against other schools across the city.
And you work with other independent schools, right?
Correct.
So there are quite a lot of leagues
Yes.
where you guys are, joining forces and competing with, which is so great.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to just compliment you and thank you for this time and to share that I really like you, Forrest. Just a couple of things that I like about the school that I want to go through. So I guess I go back, right? And then, because I know we have to wind down. This is so funny. I like the uniforms because I like the structure. I like the structured environment. I like the uniforms. The building is incredibly well maintained. It's just so manicured. It's just a really you can tell that the custodial staff just loves cleaning this building. So I just want you to know what I'm noticing about the school. It's extremely organized. The kids have uniforms. There's structure. There's properness. It's a very defined school. You know what the curriculum is. You know what the classes. I noticed that a lot of kids at Q Forest have their teachers cell phones, emails. There's just a very open communication. So that's a big plus that the teachers are so just kind of quick to connect with the kids as opposed to, let's just say, the unreachability of some others right now. The quality of the kids are really good. The parents seem really involved in a positive way. Q Forest appears to me it's very holistically involved in the child as opposed to the athlete or just the academic. So that I'm also seeing. I really like the location. So it really is Kew Gardens and Forest Hills. So it's a very easy subway ride to the school. It's an easy bus ride to the school. The actual commute to Q Forest, the mechanics of getting to the school is just so simple. Do you guys also provide private busing in addition to public transport options?
We have limited bus transportation offered by the school. It was suspended this year because of COVID. And
Yes.
the way it runs is based on parent interest, family interest, and need. We'll set the bus routes before the start of the school year.
So that,
and we also have an after-school program for lower school that runs until 6 o'clock.
I also again, I'm observing what I think would work really well for me. I like that you have a defined separate building for the lower school. There's a defined separate building for the high school. I wouldn't necessarily want my kindergartner child to be around the high school students for various reasons. I like that you just have that separation in the building. The building's extraordinarily well maintained. It's just a very well kept, clean. It's really the way like schools should look. Nothing's falling apart in the building. Everything's always like painted and fresh. And I've been to Q Forest a number of times. As funny as this is, about 20 years, I used to sub there. Is that crazy? So I actually was a sub there a little bit. With Shapiro as a
It's an
counselor.
older building. It's 100 years. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, but it is older, but it's extremely well maintained, and it's a beautiful architecture. Location is really great. So the physical space of Q Forest, you're really like right by the highway, and you're right by the trains, and it's very, very easy to get to this location. There's a really nice Starbucks down the block on Queens Boulevard. The bus stop is right there. So just keep in mind, I mean, these are all things to consider, especially as parents are juggling, with their kids, that there's always that option with incredible transport to get to the school location wise. The financial aid part of Q Forest is good because I think a lot of parents just want to explore the option of affordability and figuring out if they can afford to put multiple kids into independent schools now. And a lot of families are going to be exploring this for the first time. Q Forest is also a K to 12, so you really could have your child in this one school facility. And as far as I know, there's also a nice summer camp, right? You guys have an organized camp. If you could share a little bit about that, I think a few parents would like to know as well.
That I'm not as well versed in because I only started at Q Forest this past July, and the camp didn't run this summer for obvious reasons.
I will tell you, a lot of kids
Yeah.
participate, and it's a combination of sports. Again, Q Force is the whole child.
Right.
I mean, truth be told, Queller Prep is all about academics, so we're not like running anything sporty, but we have a lot of kids who prep and prepare. And I've seen a lot of kids from Q Forest go to NYU, St. John's. Like I noticed the kids a lot of them will stay within New York, and they're in the neighborhood. A lot of kids who opt for the school are in the neighborhood, and then there's quite a lot of international students who are attracted to the school as well. So it's really cool because you get that amazing diversity. Like you really do see kids from across the globe in that building.
Travel the world without, leaving the four corners of our building.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, throughout my years at Queller, I've seen kids like from China, from India, from Japan, and they're all going to Q Forest, and I thought that was just great. So I do want to just say sincerely, if everyone in the chat, if you don't mind, I would love for you guys to just say thank you, because this is a good opportunity right now. If you could just give a huge thank you, for taking this time and for telling us about the school. And are you easily reachable? Are they okay to email you? Do you mind just typing your email in the chat one more time, just so that we have it? So we're all just going to say thank you for this amazing time and opportunity. And
if you are interested in submitting an application, please email me at admission@qforest.org. Mention that you're with Queller Prep and that you attended this session, and we will do everything we can to fast track your application and get it into this first round of decisions.
Definitely. And then parents, if any of you want to backtrack from the meeting, I just want you to keep in mind that this is a recorded meeting, so we're going to have it up on YouTube. I'm going to ask the parents to unmute just to give you a nice thank you as we say goodbye. So everyone, let's get ready to say thank you very nicely. Okay, I'm hitting unmute right now, so this way everyone can just kind of say thanks really fast. Okay, go ahead, guys. Make me proud.
Thank you.
Wait, I'm switching. Wait, I'm switching the spotlight.
Thank you.
Wait, we're switching. Hi, everyone. Okay, go ahead. So let's say thank you one more time now that we're spotlighted correctly. Okay, go for it. Make me proud, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking time out of your family time and busy schedules. Really
No. Thank you. We are looking at other school options, guys. Please make sure parents to keep the school choices open. I want to remind everyone in this group that there is, a scholarship opportunity. There's financial assistance. Like there are ways to make independent school work. Would I have done this a few years ago? Truth be told, no, but here we are right now. Maybe everything happens for a reason, where, there happens to be a great independent school. It's in the neighborhood. and look at how approachable they are. Look at how easy they are. Look at how small the school is. Maybe it's meant to be for your child to be in this tiny environment. And who knows, maybe things are happening for the best right now, given how, surprisingly turbulent the public school system is. Maybe a lot of us, I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of families, they're going to explore private schools for the first time and the independent route. I can't
We
thank you enough
welcome,
for doing
we
this.
welcome your questions. Please reach out to us. Be patient with us. We are working remotely. And as I mentioned, it's myself and Lila managing everything for the admissions operations. So just be patient with us. We will get back to you. And email is the best, most expedient way to reach us.
Absolutely. And that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you for this time and energy. And I'm really looking forward to learning more about the school and to rewatching the video and, just to building the relationship with families at Queller. So that's it. Last thank you, guys. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Good
Okay,
night.
bye everyone.
you.
Thank you, Sarai. Thank you. We'll be in touch. It was really nice to
Bye.
meet
Terrific.
you virtually. Go figure.
Likewise. Yeah.
Who would have thought? Okay.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.